She is from Jamaica, the beautiful island of Jamaica. She's an attorney at law, processing and registration manager at tourism. She is the Product Development Company Limited Jamaica in Kingston, Jamaica. Worked at tourism for over 20 years. Had worked in the rum and sugar industry for New Year's and taught at high school for a year after leaving university. Bachelor of Science in Chemistry and Biochemistry, University of the West Indies, Mona, Jamaica. This is a woman of integrity, bachelor. Oh, she is a master of business administrator. She's well-rounded, Nova Scotia, Eastern University International Program, Bachelor of Laws, University of London. Oh my gosh, she is a phenomenal woman. Oh, certificate in legal education, Norman Manley Law School, Jamaica, called to the bar. December 8, 2016, member of Grace Missionary Church, Kingston, Jamaica. Volunteer at Legal Ministry of Churches. So, and there's so much more, but I'll stop there to say she is a woman of God. So let's sit back, listen. I'm sure she will have something that we can write. Make sure you have your pen and your paper as we listen to this woman of God this morning, Sister Madam Sheryl Lewis.
Good morning, good afternoon. Some persons are in the UK, so no, there are some time differences in the afternoon. We're all over the world. I would like to thank you all. Thank you, Ms. Novelist, for that wonderful introduction. I was wondering, I almost didn't recognize myself while you did that introduction, but God has been good. I would like to, continue to greet all my friends and families who are tuned in also to give support. I'm sending up some prayers while I'll be doing my presentation at this point in time. And it is really a pleasure to be here to speak and to be one of the wonderful women of God who have been selected to speak. Now, Lisanne, actually, I met Lisanne because she was a client of mine, and if the Lord had lined it up that way, I wouldn't have met her. And, I thank her for organizing it and inviting me to be here to speak. And I'm really, truly honored and humbled to be a part of this conference that we're going to be having today. I know God, have some wonderful things in store for us. Those of us who are participating and those who are also out there listening. Now, who have ever heard of the singer Doris Day? No, it's such a pity that, I am not standing in front of an audience where I can, see you all and look at the expressions and to get a feedback. But, the Doris Day is a secular singer, and she had done this song many, many years ago of the song called Que Sera, Sera. I don't know how many of you who would have heard that song, but I am going to be using this song as a basis of my presentation, my message. And so I'm actually going to be singing it for you, right? When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. When I was young, I fell in love. I asked my sweetheart what lies ahead. Will we have rainbows day after day? Here's what my sweetheart said. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. Now I have children of my own. They ask their mother, what will I be? Will I be handsome? Will I be rich? I tend them tenderly. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. Que sera, sera. Now, that's Doris's Day's song for you, which I attempted to present to you just now. So I'm going to be breaking it down my presentation based on the verses that I just sang. No, the verse says, the first line of that verse says, will I be pretty? Will I be rich? So that was looking into the future and asking my mother at the time, based on the song, what is lying ahead? But of course she would not have been able to see. And I mean, I think I am pretty now as an adult in relation to the song. Rich, I'm still wondering where the fuck the money is and praying that it happened to me one day that I become rich. But then who is Sheryl Lewis? Where did she get to where she is today? It is where I visioned my life would have been. No, I actually don't think that this is where I would have been. I thought I would have had another life. Another experiences. I mean, did God have a plan and purpose for my life? I mean, yes, he did. I wanted to become a doctor. And, what I think is really more my dad wanted me to become a doctor since he had wanted to become one and didn't become one. But then I also was somebody who liked to care for persons. And so in high school, I pursued the science subjects like the chemistry, the biology. So, but when you reach fourth form now to select the subjects, your physics was one of those subjects that I should have done. And unfortunately, the teacher didn't recommend me to do the physics at the time. And this would have been one of the subjects that would have been required to get into med school. So in a way, it seemed as if God had started to put whatever stumbling block in my way to prevent me from pursuing the career that I wanted to pursue. And at the time, I didn't realize that this is not what he wanted for my life. So, continued, went into sixth form. I applied to UWI. Got into the Faculty of Natural Sciences at the time, they would have called it. However, I got in late and I decided to sit out that academic year, when I would have had more time to prepare to go into university. And God was so good that he provided the opportunity for me to work as a secretary in Clarendon. Because really, I'm from Mandeville. And I worked as a secretary. And luckily, I had decided to pursue a course because I was upset that I didn't get the physics. There was this typewriting course. So, I did it. And, you see, God was there lining up everything that, I would have needed those skills to be able to pursue the course. I mean, the job as a secretary. And I worked there for almost a year. And then eventually I went off to university the following year and I lived on campus. So I applied twice, while I was there pursuing the natural sciences degree. And I didn't get in. And near the end, I decided, probably this is not what I wanted. This is not what I wanted again. And I decided I would just, go and work in an organization where I could probably work my way at the top. But while I was in university, I was busy. I was involved in everything. I was involved in hall life. I was involved in sports. I was involved in university and college Christian fellowship. I joined their chorale, and this helped me to enhance my singing skills. And because while at school, we had this choir, especially in sixth form, which I sang. And since I was always involved in church, I was always singing. And I eventually also took on leadership roles while I was on hall at Mercy Cole Hall on campus. So in essence, I really enjoyed my life. I really enjoyed everything that I did. And I really made some lifelong friends and acquaintances while there. And so then my journey into the working world started. My journey to the working world started. And I went back home to my hometown in Mandeville, and I got a teaching job at a private high school. Now, we had this career fair, job fair at the end of your final year in university. And, I got interviewed with a couple companies, in industrial companies, that would I would be able to use my chemistry and biochemistry. But I was disappointed when I realized I didn't get any one of those jobs that I had interviewed for. And I also had an interview um for as a science teacher. And it was amazing. After probably about 10 minutes of this principal, he was a director, principal, speaking to me for that school. The man decided, okay, I'm just gonna hire you. And I'm like, Lord, this can't be for real. I really wanted to work in one of the other industrial companies. And but I was still thankful that I had a job, and I was even like mad. I'm like, God, teaching, this was the furthest thing from my mind. Why would he want to give me a job as a teacher and not to work as a chemist, somewhere? But then again, you see where God had his hand in there to direct me to where he wanted me to be. So I taught there for a year at high school, the Bel Air High School, and I really thoroughly enjoyed my time teaching there. I taught children, the seventh graders, I taught general science for them. The 10th graders, I taught biology. And I taught chemistry to the 12th graders. I am somebody who is always involved. So I was head of the science club. And I took my students all over the place. I even took them to the nuclear lab at UA. I mean, for the entire time I was at UA, I didn't even go over that side. And I took them there for them to have that experience. Took them to several places like a hydroponic farm, an aquaculture farm. And I really became those students' friend and confidant. It was amazing, the relationship that we had and how they gravitated. I mean, sometimes they always thought I was maybe one of them. I just always looked probably young for my age, and I was a very skinny person. But I had, I become their confidant, their mentor, their counselor. I was able to counsel and steer. I had a student who actually, had suicidal tendencies, and the Lord used me to be able to save that child's life, who is an adult. I've seen her several times, and she has done well and become a pharmacist and so on. So, and it's amazing that even through that experience, the Lord used me several times after to counsel persons who had suicidal tendencies. And it has not been an easy journey for them, but sometimes you wonder why the Lord would have put you into a particular space to help persons. Now, after my teaching stint, I really wanted to go into the manufacturing industry because of my training. And so eventually I went into the rum industry where I worked as a chemist for about 4 years. I honed my supervisory skills, learned a lot about who I was, sticking to my values, standing up for what I believed in, and making God the center of everything that I did. And not being ashamed or afraid to claim who he is. Treating people fairly. I mean, I work in a male-dominated environment. As a matter of fact, there's at one point where it was one of the security guard and the cleaning lady were the only other females. So being able to maneuver myself through that space. I mean, I supervised men who could be my brother, father, even grandfather. Yet I was able to earn their respect by treating these men that I supervise and work with as with respect. I mean, I fought for their rights. I mean, included salaries. But after 4 years, I walked away from the job. I was happy for the impact that I had made, because I even went back there a couple years after, and these men were always so excited and happy to see me. So I know I really made an impact on their lives. I mean, when I left, I know some of the things that I had fought for were implemented after, and I was happy for that. Sometimes you wonder if, that type of personality of mine, the Lord was there lining up for something else. I mean, while there, I also pursued a diploma in management studies. Now, the next journey of my life started me working in food processing. And, after a year, that never really worked out. But God still had his hand in everything I was doing. and I started to pursue my master's in business administration. You know, when I started, I wasn't even working at the time, but God provided all the funds that were needed. I was able to obtain a car. I had a friend who I met through university, and if I hadn't gone to university at the time I did, I wouldn't have met her. And she had a car she was paying a loan for. She got another promotion that came with a car, and God was so good that it allowed this friend of mine to if you want to call it, sell me the car, where I took over the payments, the loan payment, until I myself was able to get a loan from the bank. And you know, so you see how God, you know, was just had his hand in everything that I was doing, and the people that he keeps bringing into your life to help you to achieve what needs to be achieved at the end. So eventually I went back into the rum and sugar industry, where I work as a distillery manager and chemist, and I completed my MBA with the Nova Southeastern International University. This university is based in Florida, but they had a program here, and I participated in it. So I got a bit restless because I realized that I would have wanted to come out of the industry I was, but I really wanted to go into tourism. And so the job opportunity came for me to go into tourism. And as I said, you know, God always lines things up. A friend I met while I was pursuing my master's, my MBA, she was working where I was working now, that organization, and she told me about the job. I had the interview, and I got it. And it's amazing. I've been here 20 years and counting. I did not expect to be here this long. I would say, oh, maybe about 4 years. But, you know, every time I plan to leave, that God decided that, no, Sheryl, this is where you're supposed to be. And initially, I was stationed in Montego Bay. And after 6 years, the Lord transferred me to Kingston, where I have remained. And I've worked in several positions until I am in the position I'm in now. But what is amazing is that, you know, I'm somebody who always, you know, writes down my goals and what I want to achieve. And eventually I bought a house in Montego Bay. And after I've been praying all these years to get the house, God decided, no, Sheryl, you're not going to live in that house. And as I got the house 2 weeks after the company said I'm going to be transferred to Kingston. And I never lived in that house. And so when I came into Kingston now, the Lord had me dealing with numerous legal issues with my organization, and one of them, and even attending court quite a bit, based on the nature of the job. And a situation arose where there was a operator who had a challenge with, and you know, his lawyer had to be involved, who was a renowned Queen's Counsel. And you know, I was able to present myself in such a manner that the members of the board who were present, you know, said, no, this girl needs to go to do law. And a friend of mine, the lady who I took over from the position that I came to Kingston, kept encouraging. I'm like, law, are you crazy? I wanted to become a doctor. Why would I want to do law? And at that time, I said, maybe, you know, I said, I don't think I had the capacity. But, you know, some of the courses that I had pursued, like diploma in management, so then my MBA, one of my best grades was always in the law course. And, you know, when God has everything lined up for you and it is planned and it is purpose, it was going to happen. So after encouragement, I found a university, which was operating here. You will be able to take classes here, which was the University of London, the Bachelor of Laws program in Jamaica. They had, I think I saw an article somewhere, and I tipped it out, went to their open day that they had. And I actually met the dean of the faculty of law. And, you know, after speaking to him a few minutes, the gentleman was impressed. Said, no, man, we need somebody like you to be a part of our program. And he signed me up immediately. I got my documents and he signed them off. But, you know, I was still nervous and unsure of taking on such a huge thing, which would have been like about 5 years of my life. You need money. How is that going to happen? You didn't need to leave your job, and it's an expensive venture. And I had this friend of mine who's a Reverend Peter Spencer, God rest his soul. He actually went home to be with the Lord in February this year. And we serve on a board of a facility my denomination owns, and we used to travel back and forth to Manuel. And he would always share with me and encourage me and say, no, man, Sheryl, you know, Sister Sheryl, the Lord will provide the resources. And that encouraged me. And yes, the Lord did provide the resources and all of it. And actually, he provided the right people to help in providing the resources. And so the rest is history. I did the program for 3 years, got my LLB, and then now you had to take an entrance exam into the Norman Manley Law School. I did that. That's a very difficult exam, and a small number of persons, like maybe 400 persons may take the exam, and maybe about 20 or less, you know, with going. And God was gracious to me and blessed me, and I was able to get into the program. At that time, my company was putting in a bit of flexi time, so I was able to go to work from 7 to 3, 2, 3, and school from about 3 until maybe about 9. And so that was my life for those 2 years. I was even involved in extracurricular activities. In law school, I always wonder how I did it when I was done. And I completed it, and I was called to the bar on December 8, 2016. So I've really been practicing as a lawyer since then for the last 4 years. I was even able to negotiate to have legal duties, because my company didn't have a legal officer at the time, and there were a lot of legal stuff happening. I really needed someone. But God was gracious, and He allowed the opportunity to happen, and that I got the approval from the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service for legal duties to be a part of what I do and to be compensated for it. So here I am today, an attorney at law, speaking at this International Women's Conference. You know, when God has a plan for life, He has everything lined up, and also the persons who He wants to be a part of it to contribute to that purpose being fulfilled. We can see that in the story of Ruth in the Bible. Ruth, the Lord had placed Naomi in her life by allowing Naomi and Elimelech to have a son whom Ruth had gotten married to when they went to live in Moab. So when they went from Bethlehem to Moab, and you can find that in Ruth. Unfortunately, Elimelech and Naomi's 2 sons died, you know, which caused Naomi and Ruth to become widows. And as you're aware, they went back to, Naomi decided to go back to Bethlehem where she was from, and Ruth was determined to accompany Naomi. And in Ruth 1 verse 16, it says, where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. I'm reading from the NIV version. And because of the encounter, her going back, she had encounter with Boaz, who became her husband, and then she had Obed. Now, Ruth was the great grandmother of King David, and as Obed, as the father of Jesse, was the father of David. So you see where the Lord lined up Naomi in Ruth's life, where she would eventually meet Boaz and become that great grandmother of King David, who was one of the greatest kings, who the Bible said he was a man of after God's own heart. And another character in the Bible I want to point out how God placed her in a position to fulfill a purpose was Esther. God allowed her to become an orphan, and she was raised by her cousin Mordecai. And after Queen Vashti was demoted from her position because she refused to present herself to the king, King Xerxes, who was having a banquet to display her beauty. Because he was in charge of several 127 provinces stretched from India to Kush. And because of that, he needed a new queen, since he had deposed of Queen Vashti. So God blessed Esther with beauty, and because she was so beautiful a person, both inside and out, the king was drawn to her. And even though she was a Jew, she hid her nationality. And when Mordecai found out the plots to get rid of, in a sense, annihilate the Jews, right? She was able to use her position to ask the Jews to go on fasting and praying. And also in the fasting and praying, they were able to, you know, the events that happened, she was able to save the Jews from being annihilated. And so, you know, I've seen God throughout my life provided the right persons at the right time for my purpose to be fulfilled. Verse 2 of the song says, when I was young, I fell in love. I asked my sweetheart what lies ahead. Yes, I've fallen in love. Yes, I've had my heart broken. I've been disappointed, but not married. Yes, I've had the opportunity, but didn't pursue it. That didn't stop me from fulfilling my purposes thus far. You know, the persons God who have brought into my life in relation to that, those have been a part of my life experiences and has allowed me to be who I am today. And if you notice that with Ruth, she had met I mentioned already Naomi, and because of that now she was able to meet Boaz, whom she later remarried. Each person or experiences are stepping stones into the plans that God have for our life. Now, verse 3 of the song says, "No, I have children of my own. They ask their mother, what will I be?" No, I don't have children. Yes, I've wanted children. I've wanted 3 children, as a matter of fact, because twins run in my family. I said, I wanted to have a set of twins, and maybe a boy or a girl. Because I have a brother and sister who are twins. But God has provided me many nieces and nephews in my life, who have helped to grow and have had influence in their lives and have had enjoyed an excellent relationship with them. And they're also godchildren, who I continue to provide guidance and leadership to and create some fulfillment in their life. But has this stopped me from fulfilling my purposes? No. In Rick Warren's book, The Purpose Driven Life, he has been one of my favorite authors. What on earth am I here for? God speak of the 5 purposes of your life. You're planned, and number 1, you're planned for God's purposes by bringing enjoyment to God. That is by doing what we do. So in doing what we do, listen, who has organized these things, another person, me being here, us helping to make a difference in someone's lives and us doing things for God's glory would be for God's pleasure. We are also formed for God's family so that the purpose is to identify with the church through fellowship, and we must learn to love. So being a part of any fellowship, whatever your fellowship is going to be like, that is part of what God wants us to be a part of his family. And through being that family, we can learn to love others and to impart whatever he has blessed us with, to show love to so many other persons. So we're also created to become Christ, to become like Christ. So in our experiences and all that we would have gone through, we are learning to become Christ-like. I know I have been through some really tough situations, and like God, you just can't understand why he is allowing that to happen. And I always later, early in life, when I really went through some tough times, and I would always joke with my friend and say, "Boy, it look like I have alligator skin, and the Lord is trying to scrape off some of that roughness." And that is a part of us going through those situations for us to become more Christ-like. And the 4th thing, based on Rick Warren, our purpose is that you're shaped for serving God. Serving God in whatever ministry. This now is a ministry in which I'm serving God. This son and her ministry, all other persons, whether you're going to be singing, whether the Lord has blessed you with money where you can give somebody something who is in need. That is serving God and showing others love through the whatever ministry. And then you're also made for a mission, going out to make disciples, going out to share the word. And this is an opportunity of sharing the word and getting persons to become disciples of Christ. So what you are is God's gift to you. What you do with yourself is your gift to God. And this is a Danish proverb, and I'm going to repeat it again. What you are is God's gift to you. What you do with yourself is your gift to God. So whatever you're going to be doing with yourself is your gift to God. I'm still using the gifts God continues to give to me to continue to live a life that is fulfilling to his purpose. I know I am not where I wanted to be. I haven't achieved what I thought I would have. But I must say that I despite the challenges, I've enjoyed the journey. And one of the opportunities God has allowed for me is for me to travel to quite a number of countries, all over the world. And even if I didn't pursue what I thought I wanted to do, God in his wisdom always takes you through what he wants. And my thing is always enjoy the journey. Take care of yourself, exercise, eat well, maintain your relationship with your family and your friends. I thank you for having me, and I hope you are blessed by my presentation this morning.
Amen, amen, amen. Beautiful.